Hi there, it's Cheryl Lynn. Good morning. I had a dream last night and I didn't really think much of it until I woke up this morning and discovered that my very first spiritual teacher, Ramdas, had transitioned. And he had come to me in my dream last night. It wasn't anything profound. He didn't have some final words of wisdom for me, nothing like that. It was just I was aware of him and he was smiling at me. He was just had this big grin, which he often did in my memories of him. He had this big smile on his face, just beaming love at me, just for being human. And I wanted to share a little bit about what I learned from him, because even though I think I've come to a place now where I don't so much guruize people who are in a human body, and I've learned that we each are our own guru. And even if I'm sharing wisdom with someone and they are kind of putting me up on a pedestal, that we're just all humans. We're doing the best we can. We share what we have to share. And that part of that was what I learned from him, because he was always very reachable, I would say. So I met Ramdas, Baba Ramdas, when I worked at the Omega Institute when I was in my 20s. And I worked in the marketing department, and I had no idea who Ramdas was. I had definitely been on my own spiritual journey, and I learned transcendental meditation when I was 13, had a meditation practice. So I was familiar with Hinduism and Buddhism, and had studied a lot of these things, but I'd never heard of Ramdas up until that point. And he was going to be a spiritual teacher in residence that summer at Omega. And there was all this buzz about, oh, Ramdas is going to be here. Ramdas is coming. I'm like, who is this Ramdas? Like, everyone seemed to be just like, oh, here's this guy who we have so much respect for. So, and I remember going to one of the first events he had, where we were all sitting on the grass in a field and listening to him speak. And he was a beautiful soul. I was very immature at the time, so I was more distracted by who was in the audience probably than what he was saying. And then one morning, early on that summer, I was playing my flute in the garden, and he approached me, and I could see him kind of out of the corner of my eye, watching me as I was playing, and he was with some other people. And he approached me and he asked if I would play my flute for his morning meditations. And I thought, what the heck, thank you. I mean, I wasn't really thinking of it as some great honor or anything. I just thought, well, sure, I can do that. So I would get up really early, because the meditations, I don't remember what time they were, but they were early, like 5 o'clock in the morning or something. I remember it being very cold. And when you play a metal instrument and have it, up against your mouth, it's not very comfortable. So I would play at the door. I would stand at the door as people were entering and play the flute. And there was, even though I was really immature and not having a big expanded awareness of what I was doing, I did feel like it was a really important role I was playing. I was kind of getting people in the mode of relaxation, and then I would go in the beginning anyway, I would go in and do the meditation. But I had a heck of a time with the meditation. For some reason, the method he was using, I remember you're supposed to concentrate on your breathing in and out, and I just kept feeling like my nose was itching, and I just didn't get that method. I was used to using a mantra. So at a certain point, he and I were having a conversation, and he asked how I was enjoying the meditations, the morning meditations. And I said, I don't really get it. It's not like the transcendental meditation that I've been doing. And he just said to me, he gave me a few tips on how to do it. But ultimately, he said, do what works. if the mantra meditation works better for you, you can be in my meditation group and do that. It's like, don't get so caught up in how you meditate. And that was a life lesson that stayed with me for my whole life until now. I think about do what works, do what works, do what presents. So that was one thing. And then he came to me, and it was very interesting. I was actually assisting someone, another spiritual teacher, years later, and I was tasked with standing at the door. There was the people inside were being initiated into this form of meditation, and because I hadn't officially been initiated yet, the teacher asked me to stand at the door, and just in case anyone needed anything or needed to know where to go, that was my job. So I was standing at that doorway, and I was so bored, and I felt kind of left out because everyone else was inside, or they had other tasks that seemed more important. And I was feeling a little sorry for myself and a little exasperated by the fact that I had to stand at this door and just like I was a guard, and I didn't feel like I was doing anything. And as I stood there, I could feel the presence of Ramdas. He came in. Now he still was in a physical body, he hadn't transitioned until yesterday, but he came to me as if he was standing right in front of me, and he was kind of laughing at me in a very charming and lighthearted way, and saying, "Oh, here you are at the doorway again. Do you remember what you learned from being at the doorway of the morning meditations at Omega?" And I thought about it, and I was like, well, what did I learn? I didn't, back then, I think I wasn't that aware of lessons that I was learning. And he said, it doesn't matter where you are. You could be at this doorway, you could be inside. All you have to do is be fully present where you are and know that you're making a difference, even if it's energetically, or if someone comes and approaches you, you're the first thing they see before they go in to this sacred experience. And so you're setting the tone, you have an opportunity to connect with them. And while you're standing there and there's no one there, look around you. And I remember looking around and thinking, wow, it really is beautiful here. It was in Sedona. It was a beautiful retreat center where we were. And I started appreciating and looking at the sky and remembering. And then there was one other time where I was sitting at a doorway when I was in Peru. And I remembered, and Ram Dass came in again. And he said, remember, just be where you are. Be fully present to the magic of the opportunity that you get to be this being who is stationed at the doorway. And when he transitioned, when I found out this morning that he transitioned, I could just feel myself at the doorway, at all of these doorways that I've been at in my life. And even here on Facebook, I know it sounds kind of different, but I kind of saw as I was opening the Facebook Live that here I am opening a different kind of doorway, being fully present right here, right now, and just feeling Ram Dass, who I believe will just continue without a body, just as he did with a body, no different. He just embodied for me presence, full presence, and lighthearted presence, and not taking ourselves so seriously. So just sending out love to all of you, anyone that's watching this and listening right now. And then also to Ram Dass, Baba Ram Dass. May his travels into this next realm be smooth and beautiful. And I know we'll meet again. Okay, bye for now.